Well, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm one of 12 children in my family. I wish my big brothers were here to see that applause. It's great to see you. It's wonderful to be here, and I'm so glad to have so many friends in the audience. But right at the start, I want to thank NABTU's President, Sean McGarvey, for his gracious introduction, but more importantly, for his leadership. Give him a great big round of applause. Thank you, Sean. We all appreciate so very much your years of dedication to this cause. I'm so proud to be a partner to you and to NABTU as we push to build power for workers across the nation. And all of the folks who are here today, know that I understand deeply, and I feel in my gut how important it is for our country to have workers and for workers to have the things you need. And know that I am very clear that I would not be in the position that I am in today as a voice for Georgia in the United States Senate without you. I appreciate the applause, but really, I'm here because of you. And although it may sound a little corny, every few days I pinch myself because all I've ever wanted to do was to serve, and I can't believe that I get to do this job, that the people of Georgia stood up and made it possible. That's what democracy looks like. Our democracy is like a muscle, and we have to constantly exercise it to keep our community strong. We can't outsource our voice to anybody. And so let me be clear, this is a room full of strong individuals who are laser focused on making sure that every voice was heard in 2022, and I know that you will continue to do the same as we move forward. The work you are doing behind the scenes to lift the voices of every American allows us to fight for the issues that are important to our communities. And it is that sense of service to this sacred and noble idea. One person, one vote. That is the covenant that we have with one another as an American people. One person, one vote. And it is that which enables me to do the work, to center the people in our public policy. And I know that when we center the people rather than politics, anything is possible. We can come together. I will tell you that part of what worries me about our politics these days is that too often the politics is about the politicians. Who's up and who's down, who's in and who's out. Who cares? I don't think that people sitting around their tables right now trying to make ends meet, trying to put their children through technical and community colleges or through four-year colleges are focused on the politicians. We have to center the people. And when we do that, when we come together, when we find common ground, we can find solutions to all of the problems that we face. And so that's why the work you do is so important. That's why, as a voice for Georgia in the United States Senate, working people will always, always have a partner and an ally in me. I will stand in solidarity with organized labor because I'm committed to protecting the dignity of work in Georgia and all across our nation. You cannot say that you believe in the dignity of work while at the same time not respecting the dignity of workers. Workers deserve safe working conditions. They deserve a good paying, stable job, and all of us deserve an opportunity for economic growth. And this is something that was poured into me as a kid. My parents taught me the value of hard work. I had a dad who was a preacher and a junk man. All week long, I saw my dad work really hard with his hands. He had his own business, and he used to load old junk broken cars on the back of a rig, the mechanisms of which he designed himself. Cars that other folk had thrown away, he loaded them and took them to the local steel yard, and that's how he took care of his family. But on Sunday morning, the man who spent all week lifting broken cars lifted with his words as a preacher broken people and reminded them that our God honors the people that other people have thrown away. He believed in the dignity of every human being, and although I have been blessed to have training and attend schools my dad could only dream of, I feel like I'm still standing on tiptoe trying to catch up to him. I saw him work with his hands. And too often in our country today, in our economy, the people who make all the money don't actually make anything. They play with money and make money. And there's a role, there's a place for that, I guess. But part of the reason I love being in rooms like this is because you are at the center of what America is all about. We make things, we build things, we dream big dreams. We center the dignity of work and the dignity of workers. And what I learned from my dad, who had a fierce work ethic, you didn't sleep long and late in my house. He preached the same sermon to us, it seemed like every day. Get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, get ready. But what he taught me was that people don't mind working hard as long as they get to share in the prosperity that they create for others. And so ensuring that working people get their fair share keeps our economy strong and it keeps our economy healthy. So today, as you will soon descend on the hill, and we need to hear your voices, as you remind my colleagues on both sides of the aisle of the importance of the dignity of work and the countless contributions labor unions have made and continue to make to build our state and our nation, I know that you will keep these things in mind. The key to strengthening America and Georgia's economy is investing in policies that create good-paying jobs, gives workers power to improve their working conditions, and treat workers with the respect that they deserve. And as you continue to beat that drum, I will make sure that Washington does not forget it. That's why I'm so proud to be a supporter of the PRO Act in the Senate, and we need to get it over the finish line. Because strengthening protections for working people is a top priority for me. And it makes sense for the working families in Georgia and working families all across our country. It's not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do for our economy. And that's why I'm going to keep pushing to get that done. And I'll keep looking for every opportunity I can to elevate the challenges facing working people as we're working on legislation to create jobs, to strengthen our economy, and to keep our nation economically competitive. And as we continue working on this year's Farm Bill and the FAA reauthorization, the priorities of the folks in this room and the hardworking Georgians across my state will be forefront on my mind. I know we can get this done. There's no doubt in my mind. I believe in America. And I believe in American workers. And I know that we can get this done because of what we've already gotten done for working people. I'm so proud of our work to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which would not have passed if the people of Georgia had not stood up for working people. I call it America's Home Improvement Project. These investments are coming down the pike and flowing to communities across our country to fix our roads, and fix our bridges, to upgrade our ports, and expand broadband connectivity, and so much more. We are America. We build things. We dream big dreams. And I know the folks in this room are excited about the bipartisan CHIPS and Science Law, which will train our workforce in the future, pushing us forward to build a 21st century economy. We are bringing these workforce development focused investments to all of our colleges, including our historically black colleges and universities. It's important that every kid in America, regardless of their zip code, has access to the training and the education that they need for the economy of the future. So we have to train their heads, tune their hearts, and ready their hands for service. And I'm particularly proud of my work in this bill to champion the growth of regional tech hubs across our state, which would create Georgia jobs by investing in our state's workforce and investing in the state's research and development capacity. In closing, and nobody believes a Baptist preacher when he says in closing, let me say that I want you to know that I know that it was because of you in this room, that this was all possible. The bipartisan infrastructure law, the Science and CHIPS Act, the work we did for veterans. So even as I fight to protect the dignity of work, to boost investments for a 21st century economy, to push to develop our aviation workforce, and to ensure that our farmers thrive, know that I'll continue to be an ally for you as working people and as Americans. And I'll never stop fighting to protect our sacred right to vote and our access to the ballot box, because voting rights are preservative of all other rights. So you're doing such important work, because not only are you building our physical infrastructure, every time you stand up and you make your voices heard, you're building and strengthening the infrastructure of our democracy. I think of John Lewis, my parishioner. I was proud to be his pastor, but he was the mentor, I was the mentee. But I think about him crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Think about him standing up as a young man, fighting for voting rights. As I was preparing to officiate his funeral, I asked myself the night before, what was John Lewis thinking when he was crossing that bridge? Was he thinking that one day he'd be the recipient of a Presidential Medal of Freedom? No, he wasn't thinking that. Was he thinking that at the end of his life, 3 American presidents would show up at his funeral at the Ebenezer Baptist Church on both sides of the aisle? I don't think he even could have imagined that. I think he was just trying to stay alive that day so he could fight for voting rights the next day. But by some stroke of grace, mingled with human resilience, he kept crossing that Edmund Pettus Bridge, a kind of infrastructure. And in the process, he built another bridge, a bridge to the future, where every American voice can be heard and a kid who grew up in public housing, one of 12 children, the first college graduate in his family, could serve in the United States Senate. That's what happens when we build the infrastructure of our democracy. So let's keep working together. Let's keep voting together. Let's keep fighting together. Let's keep standing up for American values day after day after day. When we fight, we win. So keep the faith and keep looking up.